Hi, welcome to Muzzle First. Today I want to work on my ATI Fatboy lightweight. This is the FX45 Fatboy-LW from American Tactical. I had this for a couple months. I bought it just a couple months ago, and I've took it to range only twice, and both times I've had a failure to feed. So what I want to do today is we're going to clean the magazine. All right. So I've cleaned the gun several times, but I have not cleaned the magazine. So what we're going to do today, I'll put the gun aside here, so we don't need it just yet. We're going to clean the magazine, and we're going to see if that helps. And you can get a good picture of the magazine model there. It's P14, made in Italy. For this, I'm going to use some hops, number 9. All right. I'm just going to use a little brass rod, a little scraping rod here, and a towel to wipe it down with, and some patches for the cleaner. All right. So I've never taken this magazine apart yet, but it looks fairly simple, pretty straightforward. There's a tab on the back that does lift up for the floor plate to come off. So let's try and take this apart without shooting a spring across the room. So that does happen sometimes. There we go. A little stubborn to get it to move on that spring there, but all right. And that's why. See, it hung up on the that tab here hung up on the back of that spring. There we go. All right. Very interesting. All right. So let's take a look down in there. I want to see, oh yeah, see if we can get a picture of that. So we'll get a before picture. See if you know if you can see that. There is a lot of crud down in that magazine well, magazine body. All right. Floor plate doesn't look too bad. Spring doesn't look too bad, but you can see I am handling the spring. I am getting black all over my fingers. So anyway, let's clean this guy up and we'll see what happens here. See if this helps with the range at all. All right, so I'm just going to take 2 patches. I'm going to soak them in hops, and I'm going to push them through this magazine body. All right. Oh yeah, look at that come out of there. So I'm not trying to scrape anything in here or scratch or anything. I'm just pushing this this wet towel around. See if we can get some of that junk out of there. Oh yeah, getting a lot of stuff out of here. Oh yeah. Let's see here. See if we can get a picture down the tube here. It's a little better. I think there's still a little buildup on this back side here. So what happens is as you shoot ammo in your gun, you get a little blowback that comes back when the action cycles, and you get powder residue and stuff that goes down in these magazine wells, these magazine tubes. Well, they go down in your magazine well also, but you'll get a large portion of it that'll go in this magazine tube, and it just kind of stays there. It just builds up, and over time it can actually cause you problems with feeding. That looks a lot better. Let's see if we can get a good picture here. Oh yeah, that looks really good. Big difference. You see it's nice and shiny in there now. Before we had a kind of a matte look. You could see the there was no shine to the interior of it at all. All right. I'll wipe down the outside here. Now I'm not going to use any lubricant in this. I'm just going to make sure everything's clean and dry. That's all I want. I don't want it oily. I don't want anything inside that magazine tube to actually collect dirt or anything. I just want it clean. I want it clean so it'll cycle properly. So I don't know for sure if that's what the problem was, but when you're troubleshooting these issues you're troubleshooting feeding issues on a firearm, that's one of the things that you always want to look at. You want to look at what ammo, you want to look at the ammo, try a couple different kinds of ammo, and you also want to look inside your magazine wells. Your magazines, make sure your magazines are clean, especially if you buy a used handgun, which is what this is. I did buy this used. I bought it used because I kind of liked it. Had never seen one before, and I liked it, and it's a lot of fun to shoot. Alright, so we're going to use a couple more patches here, and we're going to clean the spring and the floor plate and the follower. Alright, then we're going to put it back together. So the spring, I'm really just going to just follow it around here. I'm not as worried about the spring as I am the magazine body and the follower. Those are the two pieces that I really want to make sure are clean. So that follower rides along the inside of that magazine body, and if you get a hang up in there, if it gets a lot of friction, you're going to have a problem with it feeding right. It's not going to be able to move freely. So we just want to make sure that's clean. Alright. Like I said before, I want to dry it. I want to make sure every little part of this is dry. Alright. Alright, this is our follower. I don't see a lot of visible powder residue on it, but let's wipe it down here and see what we get. Yeah, so you're getting a little bit underneath here. Got a lot off of the face of it there. Alright, and that's the basics to it. You just want to make sure everything's clean and dry. Just remember that, just clean and dry on your magazines. There are a couple magazines that the vendor will recommend that you put a little bit of oil in them. It's very few. Most all magazines, they work better when they're dry. Because when they're wet, they gather dirt. So, it may seem a little counterintuitive, but for the most part, you want your magazines to be dry. So if you do oil them, it's not going to be the end of the world. You just may notice that after 1,000 rounds or something, you may start having feeding issues, and you may have to take the magazine apart and clean it again. That's all. Nothing detrimental. Alright, so for reassembling the magazine, one thing that if you don't know how it goes together, one thing that you can do, let me put this down here for contrast, so you can see how the feeding lips on this magazine are at an angle. They're not straight. They're not at a 45-degree angle to the body. They're actually at an angle. And if you look at the follower, you'll see the same thing. That follower is made to go in that magazine body just like that. Alright, it's got to sit in there just like that. So let's see if we can get it to drop down in there just like that. Alright, piece of cake. Now if we can get the spring to go on it, we'll be good to go. Now one thing, if you didn't pay attention when I took it apart, you remember when I slid the foot plate off here, the floor plate here off, it got hung up on this. So I know that this part here goes that direction. And plus you can notice the front of the spring. See how it's canted? Same as the follower. Alright, so let's see if I can get that to go on there. Alright, let's just put it together and see if she works. Let's try and get that end of that spring to hook onto that follower also. There we go, right there. These can sometimes be a little tricky to get back together. You just got to control that spring while you're putting the floor plate on it. That's all we got to do. And sometimes they'll actually have a plate on the inside that makes it a little easier. There we go. All right, snap back in place. Nice and stiff. All right. That's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you got any questions, you can post them below. Post your comments below. You can also send me an email at muzzlefirst@gmail.com, or you can visit our website at www.muzzlefirst.com. Thank you, and you have a good day.